Hello guys, today I'm here to talk about those two GT cars. As you know, last weekend I was at Vallelunga, Italy for the first round of GTS race. In the beginning I was a little bit afraid about how much fun I can have with these cars. Maybe they will be a little bit boring, but really, those cars were really impressive. I had so much fun in hand with those two. You can actually fight with your friends without being afraid with your setup to change or wherever. So on this video today, I'm going to tell you the most important things that you need to know about the GT class. Things that can make your car perform much better on the track, that can make you feel much more comfortable while driving for 5 and for 45 minutes. But before that, I'm gonna show you where I was last weekend. That for me is one of the best RC places in the world. Check this out. This is for sure one of the best places I've ever been. Right here is the RC truck. And right here is a real truck. Check this out. It looks awesome, right? So let's talk about the setup on our GT cars. Before the GTS race, we went there to test 4 days. We went there not only to get the best result as possible on the race, but also to get the best setup as possible for our customers. And after that week of tests, I'm able to tell you that we have 4 very important things on our GT cars that we must do and we must check all the time. Let's start with the number 1. The Droop is for sure one of the most important things on this car. In the front, we don't really find out a big benefit on that, but in the rear, for sure, it's very, very important. So we decided to run 27-27. We basically measure it on the table like this, and we measure on the tread, on the wheel tread, and we use 27 in front and 27 in the rear. But it depends on the kind of driver that you are. If you are a kind of driver that you like a lot of steering, you can actually use like 26 or 25. With 26 or 25, you actually can move more weight through the front. So you will have more steering in 180 corners, but it will also make your car more difficult to drive. So if you are the kind of driver that you like more corner speed, the car more free to the corner, you need to use like 28 to 29. So it will prevent your car to move the weight through the front, so to block the weight earlier, so your car will have more corner speed and less dive. So like this is my suggestion, and you can play a little bit around. We use 27-27, the car has a very good balance like that, but actually you can play. In the front is not big drama, but in the rear it can completely change your car. Maintenance is very important on this car. This car is not sensitive to like 1 degree camber in one side and the other. You can't really feel it. But it is very sensitive to like not a very good maintenance. And it's easy to understand why. These diffs arrive sometimes to 140 to 150 degrees Celsius, which is completely crazy. And if you don't have the correct maintenance in your car, if you have your bearings dry, you'll for sure break everything, because then everything will lock and you completely break everything. And it's not only in X-rays, in all cars happen this. So make sure when you drive 10-20 minutes and you come to the pit, just put a little bit of oil in your bearings to prevent your car to damage something on your drivetrain or on your bearings, wherever. Just make sure you have your car always with oil. The correct diff oil is probably 70 to 80% of your setup. In the final, I end up to drive 2 million in the front and 150,000 in the rear. Let's talk about the front. So on the front diff, when you make it harder, you make more forward traction but less 180 steering. And when you make it softer, you make a little bit less forward traction but more 180 steering. So you need to find the right balance for your driving style. So on the qualifies, I was driving 1 million not completely full. Because when I was driving on the 4 or 5 round minute, my car had a very good steering, but I could realize that in the end of the round I was kind of getting my front diff a little bit way too soft. And then I had the rear kind of losing because my front diff was way too soft. That's why then for the final, for the long round, I need to make it harder, so when it overheats, it will not get too soft. So the car will be round all the time, very good forward traction and not way too much steering. So in the rear, when you make it harder, you make more forward traction, more rotation because you have more brake in the rear, but it's more difficult to drive while on the corner and you are hitting the throttle. So you kind of need to find the correct balance between front and rear. So if you are the kind of guy that is very aggressive, I suggest you to use quite hard diff in the front. So let's say between 1 to 2 millions, and in the rear to use like 80 to 100. But if you are the kind of driver that you are smooth and you know perfectly the timing, the correct timing to use the throttle, I suggest you to use like 1 million, maximum 2 million in the front, and in the rear to use 150, 200,000. So like this you can have the best acceleration on your car. Fourth and last point, the driving style. Those two cars are completely different to drive. One has almost 4 kilos, but has not so much power. So those engines are, let's say, small for the cars. On this one, you have also almost 4 kilos, but you had huge power. So it means they must be driving different. So on this car, you need to drive it very round. You can't stop the car. You need to have corner speed. Because if you drive point by point, your engine will start to overheat if you stop it too much. If you like kind of lose the rear and then you want to make point by point and not really round on the corner, you will start to overheat your engine. You will stop like the car and the car will not get any speed. Because it's normal, it's way too heavy for the engine that we have on the car. On this one it's completely different. We have way too much power, so you actually can drive it point by point to make it faster. That's why also on this car we drive softer diffs to have more 180 steering. And on this one we drive harder diffs so we have more corner speed. Those days on the track were very nice to better understand how our car works. Even if we had some days of rain or some time of the day that was raining, it was very nice to stop a little bit to think about the next step, what we should do on the car, because sometimes you are working on the car so much, that you kind of lose yourself. So this time at Italy was very nice, and I want to say thank you to Luigi and Mirella for the help, for the support over the track. They were pretty nice over there, and I can't wait to go back there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. Like and share. See you next time.